Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
No, my question was about the censorship that's going on. How do we know what we shouldn't talk about? I understand the links, but that's why I just meant that this chat in this group is private. It can't be seen by anyone else. It can't be recorded to it has to be downloaded separately, other than the live stream that's done on the through Rick, where it's, it shows the chat. You can see the chat and record it that way. I was just curious, what we can and cannot talk about. If just as knowledge seekers, that's very disheartening that we can't talk about anything we want.
I think it'll come when the television station is fully released. Mr. Keshe will be able to say what he wants, but you can see it just talking about elections or anything else. You know what's going on in the social circles, right?
I know we're at war. That's why. And to say such that we're at war with the CCP or we're at war with information and the technical platforms, does that lead in this private meeting? It's not an issue. It's only if it's recorded.
Can I come in, please?
Sure.
Good evening. Just avoid talking about it. It's as simple as that. And try to keep away from these things at the moment, and it's going to get harsher. We don't need to get involved. We understand it. We're all hopefully adults. We see the shackles of it. We have to be careful. That's all. It's self-consciousness more than anything else, and self-restriction for the time being. Now we see social media cuts everybody off the way they want. Let me explain to you something very simple. You speak near your phone about a topic, cancer, whatever, and watch how, if you go to YouTube, the suggestion of what to do with that cancer will come on your list to watch, the prime one as advertising in 5 seconds.
How peculiar.
No, it's not peculiar. They have put a voice recognition on everything. So imagine what you talk about, how is listened. It's not peculiar, it's a computer program set. You speak tomorrow, but I want to buy Bitcoin. And watch and go on YouTube. One of the first thing is advertising, 5 seconds comes, speaks about Bitcoin to you. And you are not near anything. You haven't used your phone. Your phone is on the table, and you chat in the other room.
I was only being funny. I've experienced that myself. I guess Siri is listening.
Yeah. Siri is the biggest spy they have put in your phone. And all the programs. Just try it. Once could be coincidental, twice could be accidental, third time is must. So it's the same. You speak about, they put the programs anybody's box, but something, they come to it. This was done like marshals years ago, in 1970s and 80s. Now it's very, very complicated and very sophisticated, and they do it. Each one of our voices has a fingerprint, and you speak that fingerprint, then listen to. They are interested when you come up. Even you put your phone somewhere, and somebody's phone is in his pocket and you talk. Even your laptop is on in a room and you think you got rid of your. So don't worry about how and what they are after certain things, and keep away from it talking, or you become a point of interest.
That's why they say, I think, as a disclaimer, with the smart TVs, to be aware that they're collecting the visuals and the audio, well, not visuals, but
Visual,
images.
they do. They
Yeah,
do.
and selling it to a third party.
I stayed in a hotel and I noticed a block opened up, video recording. I put a sticker of Keshe Foundation on it. The block moved to another position. At the end of it, the bottom of the screen was full of Keshe Foundation stickers. You enter in a hotel nowadays, everything you do in your room is monitored. We automatically, when enter hotels, used to, and sometimes still do, just put a white towels over the whole screen, camera, televisions everywhere. They watch you, even if you are not if you haven't stayed in the very latest hotels, they even put the television in your bathroom to watch how you behave in the bathroom.
Yeah, Mr. Keshe, you're right. And the TV, you will see the sensor light blue. It comes out in the hotel. I usually put a towel over it.
They're just watching everything. At the moment, information, knowledge is information, and it's sold. And in most of hotels and accommodations, in public, your watch, even your mobile phone, are a camera for them. If there is a program that, if you ever been around us, all our mobile phones are locked. The cameras are locked, television cameras are blocked. Your voices, nowadays, when you say, what can we say, what cannot be said, is there. I use a mobile phone when I want to talk, for them to listen what I'm thinking, what I want to do, and you see reactions on it. So don't put yourself at risk.
Well, my question was about a newly discovered nanomaterial that's been put out there, publicated. People are talking about it, and I just, I just was curious about what your opinion was.
What is it about? What is the nanomaterial? What is it made of?
Graphene oxide, a synthetic.
What is the graphene oxide of what?
Well, that's the question. It's not really delineated on how it's created. It's just
oxide of what? Copper, zinc, iron, what?
Of graphene.
Yeah, graphene oxide. What does that mean?
A carbon?
Not necessarily. It's a CO2. CO2 in graphene state.
So is it a GANS?
It's It's energy pack, graphene as a material. It's a three-dimensional gas, which is what they call it. Not necessarily what they call it, graphene in what they call it shape is graphene. Creation of graphene is not what do you call it? Necessarily, it's the term they use any words loosely just to connect to something.
Is it allotropic, where it's structured?
I don't know. You have to see it, and it has to be analyzed.
Well,
Graphene has become a new word to use to show it's very sophisticated. Is it graphene?
well, we were trying to put the energy pack into a matter state dimension, because that's been this whole thing with this virus, is the energy pack or the matter state.
Let me explain to you something. Keshe Foundation is running very well controlled by medical teams, new technology. And the first trial has shown immediate effect. We're using a dimension of this. Most probably soon, in next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we will see the outcome. It's actually built within the machine by a knowledge seeker. And it's been tested by doctors. Now it's going for the next phase of tests. We deliver a different structure into the body. It goes back literally to what I used to build 15, 20 years ago, but in a different structure. And now, are we delivering graphene, or are we delivering re-energized condition of the system? Hopefully by this Thursday or next Thursday, hopefully, we hope, Keshe Foundation will release a new product. Hopefully, if everything goes the way we think. And we deliver masks, breathing masks, that by using it, you can change the condition of the whatever, or even prevention of whatever. This is licensed, certificate, factory, and we are taking, hopefully, the controlling shares, and we go with it around the world. Even with those people who are infected using it, can prevent or can return, because we done, we tested.
Excellent.
It's part of the expansion of the Keshe Foundation. We sell each mask for €1 worldwide. You can order as many as you like. Minimum order is 50 to what do you call it, transportation cost. Comes from certified, what do you call, factory, medical level 2 factory.
Perhaps you would indulge me with something, Mr. Keshe. Could your technology, because you always said your technology couldn't do harm,
Yeah.
Could they have found a way to use your technology to not harm, but to keep you more in the matter state, and not kind of preventing you from elevating? If you can indulge that question, I don't know how to put it any other way.
The process of what you call depletion of energy is something you can do. We create systems to deplete energy. We have positioned now the new enhancement vertical system in the exhibition in Linz for the first time in public. And in couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, the newest version of the enhancement unit will come for the exhibition to be exhibited. We have 2 new enhancement units never shown in public. These are prelude to transportation, transmutation, or teleportation, as we call it, in the Linz showroom, the exhibition center. And part of its work is to extract energy from environment that allows the physicality to allow the soul of the man to expand. If you heard, we calculated trying to Keshe Foundation to manufacture everything will take years and years. Now we are going on the licensing around the world, and you will see most elite companies around the world will spend time in the Keshe Foundation exhibition center. We are not waiting to go. We are delivering. The exhibition center is more or less complete. And it's the only delay is most of us around the Keshe Foundation are going on summer holidays. And once the whole team is back together, it takes us a couple of weeks. And now we have the accusation, where we acquired a new company into the Keshe Foundation from knowledge seekers who set the company up. And we start doing this. We announced a long time ago to knowledge seekers, you set up structures which we see is valuable to the expansion of technology. We start acquisition of companies which work with Keshe Foundation technology. This is our second such a move. We don't go for knowledge seekers who have an idea or made something. Knowledge seekers now set up factories, companies, and we literally buy these companies out with the knowledge seekers and bring the technology into the position. And if you're a knowledge seeker, we tell you you have something come forward. It's not just for the sake of talking. Now we start a different direction of the expansion of the Keshe Foundation work. And knowledge seekers who are in a position to do so, they're coming up. You will see in next months a large number of products and structures will come out of the foundation. You're taking over and going into partnerships or taking over control assets, and Keshe Foundation, you'll see it. We don't wait for what are called criminals the way they went. Now we have hit over, most probably we will have about at least 60 to 100 major companies in this. We entertain them individually, one by one. And then we open the Keshe Foundation Exhibition Center to public. We are in no hurry to open to public. We are very, very clear in what we do. And we are not going after. We learned a lot of people who were trying to, especially working for different governments or damaging the foundation. Now we send them on a goose chase. We start doing that. You will see a lot of it. But Keshe Foundation works in a different way. While they are across making telephone calls and emails, where we want, we are. When we tell you new products will come out, because now we start releasing, we just acquired a new company. And with it, in expansion, in conjunction with other technologies the foundation has, it allows us to do a lot of other new things. And we in the next most probably 2 or 3 weeks market Keshe Foundation on the fertilizer licensing. A lot of work over past years is start paying off, and we don't want things to be jeopardized by one wrong talk or one wrong links on it and or anything on anywhere.
So since many of these boards are interlinking with members on one or the other, the company sees the profitability, even though they're maybe being told you can't make this? Or will it go to the next company underneath them, let's say?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We have a different strategy, and we noticed we give names and like keep people busy with the names, let them be there, but it's not a company in contract. There is a structure different than their structure, and we've seen it. We've seen how they operate. Now we know how to operate with them. And Lens Exhibition Center is a massive development and a structure for us. Nobody sees. We haven't released anything about the center. The hooligans who listen to your teachings or these teachings or the others, they called everywhere trying to block us. And literally what the people say, you do what you like, the companies here is solid.
So will this be where some of those 10 million jobs or millions of jobs will come from? The licensing of the manufacturing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we allow the smaller unknown companies without license to become major corporations. And we take shares in it, in helping them to do. And we don't go for small companies, and because we have structure of the big factories around the world in 4 or 5 locations. We are not just whatever rights for 12,000 fraud, which is made up by a bunch of crooks in the court. Governments and people don't look. You consider a multi-billion. We become a multi-billion organization now. Literally multi-billion.
So
and everything we make goes back into foundation. In the next 2 years, where we are going, will be one of the major 10 corporations in the world. Maybe maximum 5 years.
But that's still predicated on the government's allowing you to be a business or
no
manufacturing, right?
choice. They have no choice. We create jobs and we create the structures.
So if you were a stock picker, you certainly could pick some winners, couldn't you?
We work that way. Team of Keshe Foundations around the world, team of knowledge seekers around the world are talking to a lot of different directions. We put a few sticks out, people keep concentrating on it, but we work different ways. We have scientists, we have organizations who work and they start working with the Keshe Foundation because they become a structure. We are not anymore a book and a teaching. This month we open most probably 2 to 3 factories around the world. But we don't mention anymore anywhere, where and how. And we work in conjunction with the teams which they work for us, with us.
But if they have the power to do Corona to slow you down or stop you, can't they just do something else also?
Of course, they always do. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. You don't, the time they try to block you, you're 2 steps ahead in development and research and delivery. The biggest problem we had was one of the leading enemies of the Keshe Foundation was sitting right on the top, informing prior our move or when we moved to destroy from inside. We lost that. Many times I was wondering why everything I do is preempted. Now it's not there. Nobody can preempt, and now we're developing very. Keshe Foundation today has become a multi-billion organization and assets of knowledge and technology and factories. You will see more and more. We learned from what they do, but we don't stop teaching. We don't stop developing. If you remember when we opened the design center, the exhibition center in Linz, they bombarded the mayors, the city, the police, even personally, they have called the exhibition center, and then they published it themselves. Our biggest enemy in the Keshe Foundation was sleeping with a pillowcase. And gone. And you can imagine if what we achieved in the past 12 months would have happened in the past 5 or 10 years, where would that be? We have documents, we have things, how it's been done. They left without knowing too many traces, telling people how to destroy factories, setups, structures. And being connected to the top, they thought that was instruction. It was done very cleverly. Now we don't have, and we work very direct, but they listen to the teaching, so we send them a goose chase. Then they feel a lot of goose chasing because we listen on the other end what they're calling or what they do. The new exhibition center is in a prestigious position. And we're offering jobs. At this moment, jobs is a commodity. When you even offer 20 jobs or 100 jobs, nobody listens to prostitutes and the rest. They prostitute knowledge or things around trying to stop. Government don't look, don't listen. But we have to be careful in how we put things and how we do. And when you speak in these things, just be careful how you talk, that you don't lose the whole system. We had the most successful what we call conference in Romania, thanks to the Romanian group. And from it and with it, we learned a lot. The first enhancement center in Romania will be established in the next few months because of what we had through the conference, and we move in a different direction. And we established different way, but we predicted, we worked, and now we have a powerful structure of the government behind us. We become part of a bigger structure, but we keep very quiet. You have to realize these people wrote to the Minister of Defense of Iran. that he's a Jew, he's Israeli, and you know what they told him? We know who he is. Because when I started talk negotiations at each level, I explained to them my background, where I sit, where I stand. And you know what they say? They say, if all Iranians were like you, it doesn't matter what religion, Iran would have been in different shape or form. This is the way that you saw it. They published most private letters between Keshe Foundation and the head of Ministry of Defense and Minister of Defense of Israel. And they sent a copy to Iran. Now you understand. We had Dirk feeding so much, we didn't know where it comes from. But all the information from Dirk and what we were doing was coming from Pillow Talk. And now the Pillow speaks. Government don't listen. Our biggest enemy was inside us. Now we work in a different way, we expand. We have all the structures now moving in the right way, and we expand to serve, nothing else. Because they wrote on the internet. We knew how they operate because in one of the 3,000 inputs in past year on the internet, they wrote, we called the lady, he's a womanizer, and he's managed to get the head of the exhibition center, a woman to do. So the person wrote it, knew we're dealing with a woman, but unfortunately the woman was just a manager. So our biggest enemy when we had things done was inside. You don't have that anymore, expand it. You have companies, you have structures, you have technology which can be developed. We are there to join as a structure of the Keshe Foundation. Nobody can stop you anymore. We have documents from knowledge seekers who've been told what to do to destroy the Keshe Foundation in Italy. Now it's in black and white. Their own telegram messages. Copies provided by knowledge seekers. And we invested over 2.5 million in it. So just try not to lose anything while we are building in the back.
Thank you for your insightful vision.
You are knowledge seekers. You have to know what's happening with your foundation. It belongs to you, not to me. You have to be aware of your surrounding. Some of you sooner or later in different levels will manage part of the Keshe Foundation or new knowledge seekers who come in. You have to be aware of what is going on. We don't put everything in public, but yeah, with these teachings, with people who come in and how it's been, we didn't know how we are losing knowledge seekers very close to us. They made pack of lies and they made the classified 40, 60%. 60%, Mr. Keshe, is horrible bluff. 40% sometimes is good. And when that comes out with somebody you spend your time with, they believe it. That's how one of the top men in Keshe Foundation wrote to me a few months ago. Now I understand how They were getting rid of the top people in the Keshe Foundation. Now they're calling them by name, they're calling them private. People don't listen because they realize. You have to understand what's happening in the foundation. We keep a lot of things away, but you are like this group, which are here, and most of you are active in different parts. You have to understand. They came as a people who are supposed to be in the audience of the, if you remember, knowledge seekers in the exhibition in Linz when we opened, if you remember. And through there, they were giving instructions what to do. And we had major buyers from Europe. They went to them and they got them to cancel orders. They lost, not us. That's why you don't see us to arrange anybody to come into the exhibition or public. It wasn't a nation. That nation put somebody right in the center of the Keshe Foundation. And now it's not there anymore, and now we expand. And it's strange, you know, those who listen to, they're back, they want to be in. They realize they've been taken for a good walk. We are not anymore. Every time we try to build up companies, factories, they came in, they destroyed, and they moved on. And they got most probably paid for it. Now, what cannot be done? And the same thing happened with your Margaret. The pressure they put on and they went and everything else, Trump saw opportunity for it to move. But they lost. And now we move with another government which is prepared to cash. You got to know who sits with you and in the Keshe Foundation. We still have moves in the foundation, reporting things, doing things, but one by one we are putting them out. One by one we are sorting it out. You keep your end of bargain, you carry on teaching, and everything else you do, we keep our end of bargain to bring the Keshe Foundation worldwide in the correct way. They wrote a 62-page report to a national defense, head of the security of a nation, 62-page report. And half of it was supplied from Austria. Took 3 months for a government head of securities to say rubbish. You saw that letter. When we tell you we work with the government at the highest level, we don't joke. The letter you saw appeared on the internet, direct communication with the head of Israeli defense and the prime president, or what called the prime minister of Israel, was done in full collaboration of the Iranian government to start peace negotiations, to find a solution for Palestinians. And what did they do? Because they thought they found it in the vault of the bedroom, they can use it. Then I can get executed by Iran. And that letter forced us to literally go directly open, that we are on negotiations everywhere. You should have realized when you saw money of you saw that letter. It's addressed to the Prime Minister and to the head of security of Israel. We give the defense technology, we tell them at the end of it, this is what's going to happen to you. Iran is in a position of a complete technology. The reason for that letter, some of you might find out sooner or later, is 3 Israeli jets took off from Tel Aviv to attack Syria. 1 Iranian new advanced space technology appeared on the scene, instructed them to land or we take you out. They landed. Because they already knew they're going to get wiped out. They would have dropped like a ton of brick. They were instructed to land. The reason being, if they would have been destroyed, would have been the beginning of a new cycle of war. We use it as a peaceful way, and we carry on doing that. And they released a letter to make sure I get executed by the Iranian National Securities as a spy for Israel. That letter was in the hand of Iranians from the beginning. I never sold the Iranian nation, never sell. But I negotiate for peace for Iran in every way possible. And you will see the fruit of it in the next few weeks. You keep the ship sailing, we know where to direct it.
And I always was wondering why you miss so much, but like a clever detective, he's not missing anything. He's just gathering up the net. Mhm.
We don't miss, we couldn't stop this mayhem. We will release a lot of information in due course. You've seen in the past year attack, or past years of attack with Dirk, and in past 12 months, there are over 3,000 entries on the internet attacking direct, indirect, people around, going for their heads. We didn't respond in any shape or form. We won't respond. We will not respond in public, but behind, be watching, because everything they write gives us indication where to look for and what to look for. When your enemies gives you the key, why do you throw it away? And if you look at the pattern of past 12 months and past 7, 8 years with Dirk, it's a copy of each other. A copy of each other. So they get instruction from the same master, or the master has come into operation. But don't forget, you've only been told what they wanted you to know, not what we know. And they were hoping that we react. We don't react. Many knowledge seekers ask me, why don't you all this? Have you seen what has happened? Only those who were weak, they fell off. And then they're falling off when the corona came and the other things came, they found out All the rubbish they listen to does not help them with what they need. They're coming back one by one. As nothing happened, but we know what happened. The large number of knowledge seekers in past 12 months moved sideways. And we see them one by one are coming back as nothing happened, but we see them what they entered before with the other side. And you got to understand knowledge seekers. You are putting your finger in your little talks in every pie: agriculture, energy, medicine, health, space, you name it, you're putting your finger in it. In today's teaching, you put your finger at least in about 6 of them without you knowing. To you is a knowledge you share. To them is a threat. You can destroy their advantage. And you have seen this, except one case where figures and numbers in one of the teaching was cleared, was because the Keshe Foundation could have been pulled into a fraud and deception. And by instruction of the Austrian police and lawyers, we released figures deliberately to protect the foundation. And you have to be there. We talk a lot, we push. When we push and talk in every way, it's because we want to push an agenda through. And we done our job. As I said, you listen to 2 acceptance of Iranian new president, and in the parliament, you see the change. In past years, we always had that to this, end of that. Even in the parliament, a few members tried to shout, they immediately muffled them. We changed the policy that we explained what can do, and they understood what damage has been done. And now we're collectively changing it. Is we are not decision makers, we are advisors, and we advise what is the best for the nation. And you've seen it clearly in past 7 days, what we outlined with the government in past 3 months, step by step, explaining to them what word, what said can do, has brought the result. If you notice, the special envoy from Vatican was sitting in the front row of the parliament in Iran, because Vatican was trying to move to change in Iran in a earnest way. They got a good ear bashing in past 3 months. Now they sit there as a subordinate, not as a member of the, what you call it, Vatican. We are advisors, we advise governments what we see. And we saw the same thing in Hong Kong. And we see how, with the right advice, people listen, how everything in the spirit of China was stopped. Again, planned with Vatican. Again, officers of the government informed me in advance to wait for it to come. Keshe Foundation is extremely powerful in the background, because we are correct. And they wonder how we get the information. And they haven't listened to it yet. We sit within the soul. We don't need to listen to the ear. We will release information so precise that the governments, by checking, they know exactly where and how. Have a look at the past presentations of presidents in Iran. Do you see an envoy from Vatican? Such a high level. Sat in front row. You saw the all sorts of Arab nations and Persian Gulf. They all were invited and sat in the first and second because they know what's going to happen. The information and technology. When we tell you 6th of June next year we'll go to moon, we will go to the moon because we already have the technology, but we need to get it the right way with the right governments to be there. Actually, if you want to know, we can go to moon tomorrow. Every system we have. The only system we don't have is the agreement of the governments. They have the technology, sits right inside the Keshe Foundation in the exhibition center. I put it so upfront that nobody can believe such a thing exists. So just be aware and be very wise and sit and watch. But as I said, keep the ship sailing. We'll make a direction of it, where to go and how to land where we want.
As you said, do your part, we do our part, yes.
We're all part of the same part. It's just we can't we all can't roll with the, what do you call it, with the right hand side. We'll be going on the circle.
You're an amazing person to be around. It's just
We're all amazing.
It's just breathtaking to see why someone would deceive you, but we saw the same with Christ.
Judas was sharing pillow. We're aware of it. We've been aware of these things for a long time, but we have to play our game our way. We keep very, very quiet.
As you said in many times, a master never reveals his full hand.
If I tell you things we know, you will run. You see, people who came to the foundation, we touched their heart with the knowledge and our action. They didn't come with a word of John or Jack or whatever else. And when the betray comes, they know where the heart sits, not just the talk. In the past 2 years, I started pointing out to close knowledge seekers who work with us to be aware and see, physically see where the flow is and what is happening. So we were fully aware. The whole of the top of Keshe Foundation, we could see everything, but we kept on going. And now we know where we are. But you will see more and more expansion And all of it is going into the work of the foundation. It doesn't stop. And now, as I said, we send them for a goose chase. And they sit within the structure of the Keshe Foundation inside. The new exhibition center is in a very prestigious position. They call the owners persisting to get rid of us. Then the owners show them what we call in English the two fingers. Doesn't stop. And because of us, now more companies are coming in. Because now they have a space technology on their side. So other advanced technologies will come in. But we will learn who and how they've done it. Then the guys are literally, we know now we're sitting in the center of the child trafficking. We damage their pocket.
Totally amazing. As we sit in class and discuss making of GANs and fields, there's all these things going on in the background that we're not privy to. And as you said, we've only told the knowledge seekers a couple of % of what we're doing on this planet. So you have everything well in hand.
No, it's just we are an organization, we have a lot of enemies, we got to turn enemies back to friends. And the enemies actually see collaboration as part of their success. The Keshe Foundation works right across in different shapes and forms with different people, with different governments. And knowledge seekers are very persistent to get the government to listen to. And that's what happens when it comes to the work that way. And when it comes to it, because they know about it, they allow it to happen, and it takes place, we take the rest of it. Now, in new cases we see in past few weeks and months, big companies who are, or they think can collaborate with us to expand their way, they come to us, say, we are giving share of our company to you, help us to raise. We got a number of cases like this running. And some of them are big players. We're not going out looking, they come to us. We had people flying to us to offer us their companies to expand. You will hear very soon. And I know the American officials are sitting in the background, they know I come here. Iran nuclear technology has reached 99% enrichment capability. And this is going to shock the American administration. And we'll announce it in a very detailed way very soon. And as I said to the officials, the reason we are opening the nuclear centers of Iran is because we have a more advanced technology. We have managed to develop a technology which we can enrich to 99% full enrichment of plutonium and uranium. And it's a Iranian home-made technology. And we don't need any of the energy levels which has been used up to now. And if you listen to the teachings a few weeks ago, I explained why we need pure material. And if you listen to the Iranian president's speech this week, he emphasized in what we say. We are not after a nuclear weapon, but we are after superiority in the space technology, and we got it. Americans on the peace table of negotiation are dealing as what we call a minor partner, not a superior partner. Iran has a technology to enrich 99% pure uranium. They were worried about the 60. We have 99. The Americans cannot reach 99% purity. We have the technology, and more advanced and much cheaper, and at the same time makes nuclear technology much more safe. And the beauty of it is we're prepared to share with the rest of the nations. As I said to the Iranian leadership, we are putting Iran centrifuge, advanced centrifuge centers in Natanz for sale for the Israelis to buy. Instead of killing and bombing it, we give it to them free. Because now it's obsolete. We need the space in those silos for more advanced systems. Last time it cost us $1 billion to set up. This time it cost us over $100,000 to set up. Those of you who listen, or in the Biden administration, you've been checkmated. We can fly from Linz tomorrow morning into Moon. We have the technology, we have everything in our hand. All we need is to ship it from Iran into Austria. Or you can come to Iran and see it in Iran. We have reached total purification of uranium and plutonium. I said always, when the Iranian administration come into power, I'll follow our line of strengthening the inner Iran inside without any more talks of what was before. We open the door of knowledge to Iran, and it's all been open. What I tell you is not something out of line. The Iranian government is already aware of it. I want to know how many 62-page report they write more. There is a very deep ethos with us. We never sell our women unless they sell themselves, and we never sell our nation unless our leaders sell our nation for themselves. And in both cases, those who did have gone.
Blessing to have you with us anytime, all the time. It
We
is a-
hope it.
Yes.
We hope it's the American administration message today. We know they come to this teaching, they listen very carefully in the background. And I always use this platform to speak to the administration. And our message is very simple. Vienna talks has to be straightforward. We don't ask you to take the sanctions off, keep your sanctions. We deal with technologies that your sanctions are not worth. Iranian nuclear boycotting and sanctions. We give you the machines free. Take them to America and learn what we knew 10 years ago. You're still behind. We need the space in Iranian nuclear centers for the new technologies we developed. You can have some souvenirs.
As you said, you sanction Iran, you actually are sanctioning yourselves.
In a way, it's not Iran, it's understanding the knowledge, understanding technology. I have a long-term, deep connection with Mitsui and Mitsubishi. Japanese will play a game in this new development because they need to. And it's non-nuclear, they don't need American approval. We are getting there very slowly, but catch a monkey. That's they say in English. But we got to stay correct in sharing knowledge. We can't stop sharing knowledge. We can't stop teaching. And by teaching and sharing knowledge, more people become aware of, more people are recognizing the beauty of the knowledge. And they're joining themselves.
I'm sure Alex is going to come in here and say that it's approaching 1 a.m. Central
In
European.
Europe, we have all the time for peace. We work around the clock. And there's no time limitation unless we put time on it. But it's important for us to understand where the Keshe Foundation is going from now on. We gave the technology to the governments. We shared the knowledge with the people. Now we commercialize it to major industrial corporations, which again is licensing, and this income will go back to the foundation for what we want to do. They don't take it, opposition will take, because whoever goes to bed with us will control the market. You got to understand, when we set up the Lens Exhibition Center, the original one, the plan was that way, and we got hit by Corona. The new exhibition center carries on with the same work. We will be entertaining heads of states, heads of corporations to come and see. They know about the Keshe Foundation. They just want to be part of it. They don't do, the minor partners will come in and will take over the major partners. Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen walks away from a deal with the Keshe Foundation on the table. Tesla will take over. Or the Chinese. We already have offer of 25–50% of major Chinese car industry, the new electronics, to take ownership. We don't play against each other, we play them, they have to share the market with each other. Everything which will affect us, we start negotiating, and we have started negotiating past few weeks. Now we're going through the summer holidays, we go in a very big way with the way we have. We have a prestigious exhibition center, extremely prestigious, and other facilities. We have the factories, we built it over years, now we show. Come and see. When we open it to public, we will most probably delay the exhibition, the conference, first conference, from the first week of September to first week of October, due to these activities. Because it's more important to bring governments to see than major corporations to see than knowledge seekers to come and understand. We can wait 4 weeks, 6 weeks later. But most probably when we open the Keshe Foundation to public as an exhibition in most probably October, the what we call new systems which you've never seen will be there. But our system costs a lot of money, and we charge a lot of money for it to go in and to be done. And we see with the way we put the glasses out, now we start receiving the reports back from the people who have been using it. And we see we've been correct. Technology has delivered. Knowledge seekers who buy the glasses, they send the report to us. They have to, because it's in the envelope where they receive the goods, to report. And we start receiving the first reports. And it's exactly what we thought. And now we do the next step and next. In the next few weeks, most probably before Christmas, we deliver the enhancement vision system, specifically for blinds and people who have an eye problem. And part of it will be to enhance the soul. Do we need to see with the eye, or do we see it through our emotional soul? And from what I've heard in past reports coming in, it's directly going for the soul, exactly where we want it. And it opens your vision to a new direction.
Mr. Keshe, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
How do you see with the soul? Can you explain to a layman what you mean by seeing with the soul?
You feel your environment without talking. You feel your people without talking to them. You don't need to go to sleep to dream about them. You feel them before they do. But you never put it on the table. That's the beauty of their strength. You leave it for them to tell you, or they know that you know. You never, if you're a father, do you go and hit your child? Why didn't you tell me? You give so much love to your child that he'll come and tell you, Papa, what I did wrong. When you hit, you're a dictator. When he comes to you, it shows the strength of the love and care. You just let them know, I know. You expand it. You called it sometimes the sixth sense. It's not the sixth sense. It's your creator, your soul, which feels and knows. And you rely more and more on it. And one thing which is very important, nobody should have a fear to approach us or talk to us. We should be as open as anything. And that's the key. When we become a structure for fear people to have a fear to see us, we have to change it. It should be open though people can talk. But you don't have time to listen to everyone, but you can be selective and develop it. And the time when you're correct, you'll come, you pick up the fruit of your work. Then it comes when you're at peace with yourself and everything else, you develop more. And I've said very recently and many times, I have found peace after years of turbulence and comfort and pleasure to be part of what I do. What turmoil you've seen past year on the internet, I live with 30 years of day in, day out. You get so punch drunk, they don't know which way to go. You run from post to post. Now I have found peace, and in finding peace, I bring a lot of peace and work for everyone. I have found what I always was looking for years in my life. And this gives me time to do other things. You had a taste of a year of it. I had the taste of 30 years of it. Just keep on teaching and don't hold back knowledge. When you hold back knowledge, you stop yourself, not the others. But understand who you give the knowledge to and how you share it. We are heading for a big change, a massive change. But we have to stay very calm, but at the same time, not to be in control of, but to be part of the change. If we try to be in control of it, we can manage dictatorship. But to be part of it, we take the majority, then there is less mistake to be made.
Mr. Keshe, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
I want to tell a small story first, and then I will ask the question. In the documentary Discovery Channel, a long time ago, I saw a video about the turtle In the seashore, turtle lays egg, thousand egg. And at the end, I think so 21 days or something, days later, the egg hatch. That time, the foxes and the sea seagull and seabird
I've
and
seen
fish,
that movie.
everything
I've seen-
waiting for the egg to want to eat the turtle's baby. And some scientist is there, some voluntary worker is there to help them to go to the sea. But most of babies get eaten by predator. So my question is now, humanity is hatching the egg. So what situation will be happen to them?
We are in a safe hand. The biggest predator of man is the man himself. Very few people are eaten or taken by the other animals, but most of the people killed is killed by man. So we have to change the man for the predator not to be there, because man is a predator of himself. But the other hand is, the process of life on this planet has been that I know I need only one to hatch out of 100 for it to survive, to be another. So I lay enough for the others to be served. We look at the story in two ways. You look at it that the predators do the wait for the food, but the mother knows, or the turtle knows, that it's a supply chain to the others to feed their children, for them to survive. And the process comes that when the lion, or what do you call it, when the lion's share of the food is given through the structure of the environment, then the fox or the bear doesn't need to eat, and the turtle would lay one egg or two to guarantee the survival. If you get all these thousands of turtles into the ocean, can you imagine, would there be any other animals left? They'll eat all of it. In a way, the mother knows, and it's the process of how the cycle of life is on this planet. Then it's not that if people can help or whatever, it's what mankind does. I was sitting in the west coast of Africa. I own a hotel that I was on the top in the penthouse, watching the shore, because they used to bring catches with two big fishes, what do you call it, ships, and then they can't pull because they don't have these heavy engines to pull heavy loads. So the boats come to the shore, and the people on the shore help the fishermen, and they pull a net in. This is traditional in West Africa. So people help the fishermen to pull in heavy loads of fish from the sea, because they cannot, there is no equipment for it. The Africans don't have it. So the men become the motors. When they pull the net in, if let's say there's a ton of fish, the fisherman takes half a ton. The rest is left for those who help to come in, to bring it in. They take. And at the end, the balance is left on the shore for the birds to eat. In one of these catches, there was a huge turtle. They didn't know what to do with it, but they knew, traditionally, they can't put it back in the ocean. I joined the fishermen because I wanted to understand how the culture is. They turned the turtle on its back. It was like a minibus, or what do you call it, a mini car, I should say. It was huge. They managed to turn it on its back. And I said, what do you do with it? They said, then we decide what can, because it's going to die. We can't put him back into the ocean. And the turtle must have been, I don't know, 100 years old or whatever. And I learned a lot from it. It's not the process of how it was caught, but how many generations has this turtle have created in the ocean? Has its soul given time for it to be? And what do the Africans do with it? And what would happen when there's no fishermen? The fishermen are all fed. We managed to feed the man through his soul. With the turtles, still lay 1,000 eggs for 1 or 2 to hatch. Or the seas will be without turtles.
Critical situation. Thank you.
It is how we look at the things and how will come. How we see what is the perception of what we don't see. The cycle of life has to be, and it will balance itself. We've seen this with the Chinese experiment. China went for a one-child policy, and the numbers dwindled, and the parents chose if it's going to be a boy or a girl, and they have 20 million boys more than girls. So they had to import girls from Thailand, Vietnam, and the rest of it, and they have a bigger problem than they would have allowed the daughters to be born. Now they went for a two-child policy because it was one child looking after 3 people. And when they got married, 2 people were looking after 8 people plus 1 child, 9 people. And the economy couldn't pull. Man gradually will come to his own balance to find out now China allows 2 family policy. And now if you're rich, you can have 3. It became depopulation. And then they found a way of survival.
Thank you.
Mr. Keshe, in the last workshop, you said something about the new or the old leaders, and that many of them are sick. And so would that also mean that via this way, a lot of advancements will be made?
You have a beautiful Dutch accent. I know who you are. The advancement will come because the new leaders are young and they bring it in. And they will change the structure. And the new leaders in the West will bring a lot of changes. And the same with the other parts. But the old have created such a mess, they don't know how to sort it. That'll bring a big change. But it is, we see it is inevitable with the Corona situation to come up with a new way, new industries, and we are in the right time, the right place to deliver the right technology and enough ears to listen to bring that technology in different shape or forms. Don't forget, every nation has a copy of the patent, the knowledge, and once one hits up, the rest will run with it. And as I said, we offer our most advanced 30,000 RPM centrifuge uranium system as a gift to the other nations because we don't need it. It's too costly, and Israelis can create a lot of problem for themselves, getting people, many Israeli soldiers and what you call Mossad's killed, trying to stop these centrifuges to damage themselves. So now we give the gift to them, they can come and take it. So the new generation of the Israelis will move in a different way. The new generation has to change in the future, not the old generation. There's a very high possibility that we'll see massive changes on the horizon when new technologies are released by Keshe Foundation. They have a huge number of technologies which are ready to come out. And we're going to do it in collaboration with the new Iranian government. If they do not play, Keshe Foundation will become an independent nation. We will run as an independent nation. We'll create a new nation. And we're in that position, can do. A nation without borders, a nation without arms, a nation with people who serve, and the rest. You know, you nowadays carry a national passport in Europe, and you carry a European accepted card, ID card. You still will carry a new ID card as part of the being one nation. The choice is very simple, but it takes time. It won't happen overnight, but one nation will come, a policy we have no choice of. We always had the mayors and we always had the head of districts. Now we have the head of states, but in fact they're just part of a one nation's organization. And we work on it, and it just comes things across. We had a meeting with a mayor very recently, and I said to him, what's your position? He says, I can't spend money because there's so much debts. I said, okay, Keshe Foundation will take over all your debts of your city. The money you pay as an interest, spend on your city. He could not, he was shaking his head. I said, at the moment, you're in the hand of the banks. We take charge over all your bank debts. You don't need to pay the foundation, spend the money on your city. And the Keshe Foundation will expand its work in your city, bring more jobs. Because we can do it. We are in a position to be able to do it. We're bringing 1,000 jobs into the city. And I said the debts you pay, we pay, we didn't use it once we create jobs out of our taxation to the government. We are not giving it free, but we allow the nation to grow, the city to grow. And then this before with governments. We buy nation steps, but they don't have to pay us. When a nation doesn't have to pay, nation spend inside. We created jobs, that the jobs and taxation pay us for our debts. It's not win-win, it's win for the nation. This is how we interact and interface with the governments. But we monitor the money they paid for the loans, how it's spent in the city. It doesn't become a free run for everyone. But we create jobs. It's the job of the city to create facilities for us to be able to set up factories, create new job, new taxation. It's the same with governments. I've done this before. For me, it's something which I know very well. We buy the debts of the African nations by the Keshe Foundation. They don't need to pay us.
I have a question. I have been asked by others about how this is different from the New World Order.
What is the New World Order?
Good question.
What is the New World Order? We are not a New World Order. We are a one nation and we go that way. To have an order, you have to make rules and somebody had to be somewhere to push things. There is a policy and there is a ruling. If people accept the policy themselves that it makes sense to them, you don't need to rule them. And our policy is very simple. We don't enter into guns, we don't enter into politics of the country. We support economically the nation, the country, the city, whatever. We now have a new structure in China. The Keshe Foundation in China gives products of the Keshe Foundation freely to the farmers, more or less. We have the factory that are producing thousands of liters of gases. We don't ask for the farmers or very little, which allows the farmer to save on the fertilizer. And we say, okay, if the national government says your land should produce 1 ton and we get 2 tons, we take one third of the extra ton. Nobody can refuse us. Now in China, this is our new policy and our team are working on it. We have built, Keshe Foundation team has built a large, sales force, and that's their job. The poverty sits within the farmers. Farmers doesn't even have the money to pay for the harvest, for the fertilizer. Now we give gases the way it helps the farmer to double, triple the product freely. That we share on the profit of the increase in harvest. If we increase 1 ton to 3 ton, we have with us nearly 1/3 of a ton at the end of the year. That 1/3 of a ton will give us the money investment, capital investment. Next year, the farmer is always there. We don't need to go to them. They've seen the result. The Keshe Foundation has a direct instruction in China. Give the gases freely to the farmers who need it instead of fertilizer, and we take 1/3 of the harvest. Increased harvest. This means he cannot lose. He had his bases as he had before.
Thank you for the explanation.
You will. The policies the future heads of the Keshe Foundation have to make is how to be correct, but at the same time, profitable to be able to deliver to be correct. We need millions of dollars, not a few, to carry out. And those of you who are rich, the foundation needs this kind of support to be able to deliver. We don't live poverty-stricken, we live a good life, all of us, and it's time to change from inside out. The factory in China, the factory in Iran going into operation. Mexico is coming online to deliver in a beautiful way. Austria is going to a mass production in a 6,000-7,000 square meter. We hopefully build a beautiful structure in Romania in the next few months. The same with Africa now. We are moving beautifully in that direction in the next few weeks. And now we have a support of a government behind us to deliver through governmental policies.
Another question I was asked is about mind control. Some people think that the Ganses may have an effect in like mind control.
Whose mind, who's controlling? You're making your Ganses, so you're controlling your mind, you're becoming aware of other things.
Okay.
It's very simple. You're not buying Ganses, you're not going to somewhere to get an injection. You produce the Ganses with a good intention, and that intention comes from the Ganses to you to create a good life for yourself. If it's a mind control, it's you controlling your mind because you know it brings benefit, and you are producers of it. Who's controlling who?
Okay. Another question is the Keshe coin still, you said something about a banking system coming into existence sometime later, a Keshe coin based system?
Yes, well, Keshe coin is a donation coin with 3% interest. And European Central Bank had a huge problem with this situation. That we become a Bitcoins and valuation. I spent weeks with our bankers and European Central Bank explaining to, and European Central Bank has accepted the Keshe Foundation as a valid coin that it gives its instrument within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. And we have no intention to put it into the market. But there are market people who are looking at the Keshe Foundation as an income. But there's a lot of things with it we watch, but we know there are institutes who are looking to, but it's as a donation, as is not a purchase, they have a big concern. Because we don't allow them to stipulate. But at the moment, if you have over 150,000 euro in most of the European banks, you pay 1% interest or 1% of your capital every year to the bank. Because the economy has collapsed and the banks have no one to lend money to. So they have brought reverse, the way it's been in Switzerland for years. Over 150,000, if you have 1 million, they take 10,000 from you to have your accounts. Where in the past, they gave you 1 or 2% interest. Now Keshe Foundation, 3% interest is very lucrative for many organizations to look at, but they don't like the way it's set up as a donation. But it's been accepted by Central Bank, European Central Bank, as a valid currency within the structure of the Keshe Foundation.
So with that 3% or in general, what does that mean? It said somewhere that you could exchange some of this for product.
Yes, a lot of Keshe Foundations, so you buy it and you want to share it or buy something. We have knowledge seekers who've done this. They exchange their coins. We already are in that position. Or some knowledge seekers donate their coins to the foundation for a specific project.
Because I asked Klaus Prille and he didn't really know, he wasn't really sure how that worked.
In which way?
I was going to donate something and then possibly exchange it for product later, and he really wasn't sure how it worked.
You can do. Of course you can.
Okay.
Because he allows us to work. A number of people have done this.
Okay.
They bought the coins at the beginning, and now with enhancement units or different projects of the Keshe Foundation, they send us a note that I want to donate my coin for this purpose.
Okay.
Or they exchange it for goods they want to buy.
Okay. Now, how do I know, because I haven't seen any kind of anything about how this is accounted for?
Everything goes into the account of the Keshe Foundation, all the donations. And as a foundation, we do not disclose any of our accounting.
Okay.
It is part of how it has been from the beginning. And that's how we invest everything around, because we receive donations. We receive a lot of incomes from our own work. And as a foundation, we only disclose our books to the government. We do not need to disclose anything. It's just the beauty of the foundation.
My question is more like, if I donate something and later on want to use it, some of it for purchase, how do I know what I can use?
You decide.
I mean, I mean, how much is available for me to use?
For what you've donated plus the 3% over the years it stays.
Okay.
So if you put 10,000 €, you get 300 per year.
Okay.
So that year you want to spend your interest on, you just inform the foundation. The only thing is your 1,000 donation stays 1,000. There is no flexibility in it. We saw with the Bitcoin, a lot of people saw it, it went to 60,000 whatever, and it dropped to 25, 28, and now it's back to 30, 40. How many people have lost? If it goes from 50 to 25, somebody must have sold this coin that it lost so much. You understand?
Yep.
Why should people lose their livelihood this way? We don't speculate, we invest, and we've seen it. If you look at it, the Chinese factory, the investment in Mexico, the investment in Iran, in Austria, these all come with the hard cash. We invest from the foundation.
And that 3%, if I would exchange that for goods, would that be taxable? Do you know?
Not really, because you buy it internally. No, it's internal.
Okay.
Because you're
Thank
entitled.
You.
You're welcome.
This has always been kind of fuzzy for me.
No, it's there. If you look at it, we own all the assets of the Keshe Foundation. We don't have all the investments, assets are owned by the foundation, paid by the foundation. We have a zero bank borrowing. We don't borrow anything from any bank. And knowledge seekers or donations or investment comes and we invest the same. Every book sold, the money goes into the foundation. Every profit made around the foundation goes to the foundation and it gets reinvested. You got to understand, you have a 17,000 square meter factory in China. You have a 7,000 square meter factory in Mexico, fully owned by us. We own it, we paid for it. You have the operation in Austria, in Iran, used to be in Ghana, now it's moved to Nigeria, it's moving there. Many other bits which the Keshe Foundation is involved in, all paid for. And it all comes from the operation we do. I invest a lot of private capital into it to grow it, that it brings a world peace. But in essence, whatever donated is there, we need it, we use it. And as I said, I put every penny of the Keshe Foundation and my assets in there. And I close all my banking around the world that nobody can accuse me of is using, siphoning money into his private account. I buy a cup of tea, foundation pays for it. I sell a book, I pay it, I give it to the foundation.
Thank you. Another question. I'm the person that has that one enhancement unit ordered.
From Germany?
Yeah, no.
From United States?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what will happen with that, because I don't have a facility and I don't have a doctor and I haven't really looked for one.
We handed you over to John Bevan. John,
okay, all right.
John is responsible for the whole of the operation of the enhancement units in New York,
Okay.
in your area, and a couple of other places. And we have developed, we have changed and improved the technology, and now we are more or less, we think, next week or two after the holidays, ready to deliver the enhancement units out, because we are in the final phase. We had to develop new technologies for transportation and transmutation, and part of it matches into the enhancement units. If you look at the pictures of the enhancement units, which is in the exhibition center, if you look closely, you see reactors mounted on the wall. Those reactors are all gone. Totally different, totally more effective system has been developed as part of the transportation, transmutation. Now we use the enhancement unit. And we think we are ready to go. And then if any further development next year or so, we reassess the structure.
So would it be best for my unit to be with the others?
You have to decide. Let us, we are, what do you call it? We are in the process of, we show this first in Tehran. Now that the new Iranian administration is in a very short time, Keshe Foundation units will be flown to Tehran. And will be shown in Tehran for the first time in operation. And then we are ready to deliver. And the setup for it is there to do. Our factory in China and in Austria is getting ready to deliver between around about 50 units a month. And we have a commitment and sense for it.
Okay, so then I will get a hold of John.
You just gotta wait. John will announce when we are ready to go, because John has to wait for the factories to deliver. And then we go. At the same time, we want to use the enhancement units and the new units as part of our negotiation for peace with the Americans and the rest. In technology and exchange for peace. We are not jumping anywhere. We are sitting back very tight while we are sitting. While we waited for the change in the administration in Iran, we kept on developing the technology. And now we have a new administration in Iran. We see a lot of people saying it's a hardliner. Yes, it's a hardliner from now on for the Iranian nation and the world. The policy is very, very simple. We look in, and with it, we look after the outside. And it will be shown in Tehran. then Arizona, and then we'll go worldwide. We have enough orders to keep us going for the next 10 years on enhancement units.
Well, thank you for your wisdom in that decision making.
We have a lot of, we see through the soul, we know where we have to go. But essentially, Keshe Foundation runs in the background on its own. We have a zero borrowing, with zero commitment to any bank. Whatever we hold on our own back, and very few organizations like us in the world. They have millions in the bank, but the shareholders are borrowed to be there for them to be. We sit correctly on our own assets, and we invest in our assets with the people and the way it goes. The running of the Keshe Foundation at the moment runs into more or less hundreds of thousands a month at the moment. We are running back into a couple of 100,000 plus a month expenses. It's not a joke running this organization. And donations will cover very few part of it. The studio, the exhibition center, that alone costs the foundation around about 50,000 a month.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. The China, it's the same. It costs tens of thousands, and we pay for it, all been paid and gets paid. The same in Mexico and the rest. We set up the factories before, and as we saw, we lost because inside we're telling how people to break open, how to damage the foundation. And now we got rid of it, nobody is damaging the foundation. So everything is done. We are increasing workforce every week now. And we expect to employ about 20,000 people by the end of 2022. That's our minimum target. We will reach around about 5,000 by mid next year.
Mr. Keshe, I want to thank you very much for being here. Terrific, terrific day. Really appreciate it. I want to
thank you very much for your teaching. You are making a lot of effort and a lot of headways. Thank you for your time and everything else which goes to bring this in.
Thank you for those words. I am frankly overextended. I'm in uncharted waters. So next week I'm planning on getting back into the yellow submarine and doing a little more exploration. So but I thank you for your inspiration, because it's real, and I thank for the knowledge seekers who've supported me in my efforts, because that's real as well. And to all the people who've attended today, on behalf of the North American Corona team and the North American International Corona team, I want to thank you all for allowing me to participate and move forward. And I'm going to sign off and pass it over to you, Mark. Thanks again, Mr. Keshe.
Thank everyone. What a beautiful delivery by Mr. Keshe and Alex and Jalal and all the teachers, as we're all students and we are all teachers. It's just some of us know a little bit more, or hope we got it right, than the others. So again, we're so fortunate to be in the hands of a captain that sailed these rough waters before in the universe. So he does know how to navigate and get us through safely. We're at a beautiful moment in history now, and we'll all be witness of it and tell our grandchildren and so on what we've actually been through, and probably deliver it to other planets who are in a misfortunate condition like we've been. Thank you so much, Mr. Keshe. You're always inspiring. Great person to be with, hang around with, and be buddies with. And it's just great. I can't say all the words I'm thinking.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.